We are seeing between 41 and 60% open rates
Wow.
on monthly and weekly emails.
Hi, I'm Josh Owen. As the owner of a video marketing company in New Orleans, I've been on the quest to learn everything I can about marketing. Everyone has a different style, different strategy, and a different experience. Is there a wrong way to do it? A right way to do it? Let's find out together as we make marketing make sense. Welcome back, everybody, to another fabulous episode of Make Marketing Make Sense. I'm your host, Josh, with Comfystone, and today I'm joined by Rachel at 3090. Are you CEO? Is that how you term yourself?
I say principal because that's what is really
Ooh,
relevant in the
okay.
design and construction space.
I love
So I
it.
feel like I need to match their level of,
Wow.
the hierarchy. So
Okay.
owner, principal,
Nice.
strategist, whatever. Just
All those
Rachel's
good
good.
things. All right, Rachel's good. Well, we're here with just Rachel. And we're going to talk about effective email marketing. Is it relevant? Is it still around? Should we use it? We're going to get your thoughts on it, Rachel, and hear all about it. So, Rachel, first and foremost, what's email marketing in this digital age like? Do you believe in it?
Well, I will say that even as we approach the holiday season, we're all getting just a ton of mass emails from large-scale retailers multiple times a day. And so a lot of that feels like junk mail. And there's certainly some positives and some negatives about the access and sort of the customer buyer's process associated with that level of national
Yeah.
retailers. I'm also an online shopper, so do I hate that I get coupon codes here and there? No, I do not. And so some of that is like filtering, right? And I think every user filters a certain way, and we have certain email addresses we might use for certain things. What I'm more focused on, and what you and I have talked about, is more of B2B selling, because that's really where my client pool is. We do have a few retailers and some nonprofits that could use email marketing for some consumerism, but a lot of our clients are using outreach marketing campaigns because they're doing a B2B selling process, business to business. And so that looks very different than Abercrombie emailing 4 gajillion people, right? And so I think the relevancy, at least in our client pool, is that we're taking knowledge leaders, experts in their field, and creating some amount of value, some idea sharing, some amount of vulnerability of letting your client pool or even your audience see some aspect of that human side of your brand. And that's where we're using email marketing, where we've had a lot of success because the viewer is probably opening their email at work. We still have a large percent of desktop open rate, which is a little different, I think, than how people are reading like their Nike emails on their phone, because when you're at a desk, there's a different absorption process, especially if you have a relationship with the sender. And I think that's really where the difference lies, where we see tremendous open rates that still excite us is when someone is sending targeted emails because of their sector with an audience that connects with them. And that's where the value really is.
I guess, so what you're saying is email marketing is not dead.
It is not dead. And we sort of laugh about the success of it. We have a few different case studies that we're running on our own right now and with some clients where we are seeing between 41 and 60% open rates
Wow.
on monthly and weekly emails, which honestly is shocking.
Right.
If we were going to do a social media post and say that 60% of our audience was going to see it most of the time, that would be tremendous, right?
Yeah.
And so we almost think it's comical and are impressed with the amount of traction we've seen. Now, these email lists are not 100,000 people, but they're several hundred to several thousand typically. And in markets where you're really doing people selling, if you have a niche market and you can really say something impactful to your market, it doesn't matter how many people it is. If it's the right pool and the sort of audience that you're trying to gain visibility with, and you've hit it on the nail on the head, and they're opening it, how much more valuable is that to touch those people once a month and say, hey, don't forget about me. This is what we're doing. This is what's happening in our world. This is what can help you this month. And so that's been really exciting to watch. And even some things that are slightly more vague in nature, if you're saying the right things to the right audience, even when people don't know you as well, the open rates have been really good. And so I think that's just a direct, content to audience connection.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, especially within these client success stories, I guess, are you doing, how seriously are you taking it to the point where are you doing a lot of testing with them? Are you swapping in new, verbiage? Are you like looking into what you do with the emails? Like how deep do you get with the email that you kind of send out there?
So we do, especially with these sort of like subject matter expert type content outreach plans, we do look at the heat map, which I always just think is fun
Yeah.
to just see where people's mouse is hovering.
Oh, yeah.
I also do look at the desktop versus mobile open rate because a lot of the email engines like Constant Contact, like MailChimp, they're great templates because they're user friendly, but they also have limitations and they'll do weird things where, the desktop to mobile version will tweak slightly because it has to. And so sometimes I just, it's like a website is never as beautiful on a phone as it is on a computer. And so I like to just see like how is it getting delivered in the real world, and also time of day, open rates and things like that. Just because we're usually doing B2B outreach, I know that people are typically opening emails between 9 and 5, but we've even seen, some Friday afternoon emails, which I would never suggest as a time slot. We've seen those have really good open rates because of the audience that they're being sent to. And so those are the types of analytics we're looking at. What articles are people clicking on? Anything human interest always gets a lot of traction. I have a really successful commercial real estate broker who sends out an email monthly, and at first it was a stretch for her to get to the concept of like, we're going to pull this. Every 2 to 3 weeks we're going to be pinging you for the next content to set up that fourth week, sort of like calendar reminder. And so we do some just fun things, like things going on in her industry, things going on nationally, projects she's working on, books she's reading, podcasts she's listening to.
Wow.
Just like interesting things. And people will write her back all the time.
Oh, really?
Like, hey, can't wait to get that book. Thank
Wow.
you so much for sending this. And so she forwards them to me. But it's really fun to see how quickly she's about to hit her 12th, edition, because we're about to come up at the end of the year. But to just see this whole year, how many people she has physically touched in that
Right.
amount of time, just kind of from sending a hey, hello.
Yeah.
Here's what's going on email.
That's wild.
It's really been fantastic to see.
That's incredible. I mean, and especially with all of that, like you're adding on all these different layers and you're slowly like adjusting it. Like, how, I guess, like, does she know how much yet, or like has she seen any like growth in her own business from it, or is she still like testing those waters right now?
I think for her, we're kind of doing a top of mind campaign.
Yeah.
And it's sort of about her visibility in the marketplace locally,
Right.
and how she fits into the regional and national organizations that she's part of. So there's some amount of, I don't want to say resume building, but like reputation management that is part of her goal. And that's really been, we haven't tied a commercial real estate transaction sale to something that
Right.
came out of this. And that's not really the objective
Exactly.
for her. What we have done is sort of built a visibility model that I think has gone well. And we've actually been talking about a January goal to do a little piece of video marketing to drop into one of those little, it's sort of set up in this like 2 across 4 down little widgets, sort of like a little mini news blog. And so what I really would like to do is have her do a 60-second video introducing, because all of her projects are physical, to say, hey, I'm here, I'm at the podcast studio, take a look around, and then
What are we waiting for? Let's get her on here.
and then link that into
Yeah.
it, because of just that whole mentality of the eyes scrolling and wanting to stop and see what that video,
Yeah.
what is she saying? And so we've been talking about that as a next
Yeah.
step, and
That's
how
awesome.
maybe my team can help her script these sort of like a little mini videos, because it's like, why not fold in
Yeah.
video marketing
Yeah.
into a email campaign, even if she does it every other month or
Right.
something. It just is more engaging, and I think if nothing else, it's fun.
Yeah, 100%. And we love having fun, so that's important. I mean, so as she's adding on to these goals for her, are you also helping her with the aspect of building on, adding to these lists, adding on to these email lists? And like, if you are helping with that, like, what do you do? How do you like know, like, especially with B2B, like I'm assuming you want all of these, like, who do you want on these lists? Do you want them to be high quality leads, or can they just be anybody? Like, who are you looking for?
Right, so that's where segmentation comes in. So for her list, she has an actual administrative team that helps pull people that are in her sphere. And so I kind of, for any business, like to break down not just recent and past customers as an audience that you should probably be reaching, potential customers that you're maybe in the lead pipeline with or are speaking with, and then also advocates. And for me, because I'm a local business and you're a local business, so much of our work comes from our referral network, that
Right.
those people who help connect us in our community, those are the advocates that I like to talk about. And so keeping them in the loop of what's happening helps them to say, oh, wait, you need a video guy? I know a guy, Josh,
Right.
because I just saw your email last week. And so that, having those people have you as top of mind is also really important. So for our company, we're working on testing some segmentation right now. And we really have, I'd say, 4 main segments that we're developing content for, and building lists separately, and developing content that is curated for
Oh, wow.
conversations with those audiences, and they have different meanings. So I can explain those to you if you like me to run through them.
Well, you got your 4 segments?
Yeah.
Oh, what? Well, give me the
Okay,
the
so-
top level. What is it? What do we got here?
The quick version is that our master list, which is
Uh-huh.
just sort of like anyone in our sphere,
Right.
from New Orleans to Baton Rouge,
Yeah.
anyone we've done business with or networked with or been in leadership organizations with, or who just has come across us, we send a monthly networking email to that just
Gotcha.
says, hey, here's all the things happening within the month that you might want to register to attend. Networking is really important in our community. And oh, by the way, at the bottom's a few blog posts we've written recently if you want to click on some. So that's very, I'd say, it's a more generic approach.
Right.
It's more top of mind approach. The second email list that we've been building, and we do add to this monthly.
Gotcha.
And we do, it is called Entrepreneur's Edge. And so we send it out to small businesses locally in like the 5 parish area around New Orleans, St. Tammany, Jefferson. We use Chamber of Commerce lists. We do Google searches. Those are a lot of small entrepreneurs who probably don't have a full marketing team. And so we do an outreach once a month where we literally seek emails through channels that, you're supposed to have access
Right.
to them, right? There's some email rules
Right.
with, don't go buy a list and upload that into Constant
Right,
Contact.
right,
That's
right,
not a good
right.
idea. There's some laws against that. But we provide sort of small business marketing free tips.
Nice.
And we also have some little packages here and there that will give some freebies and things like that. That email list gets somewhere in the 40 to 45% open rate.
Wow.
And we grow it. We have a goal every week to add 20 new
Gotcha.
businesses to that. So that list keeps
Is
evolving.
when you're adding businesses to it, are you like, is it just kind of like you find them and just add it, and so they don't really know you, or are these all people you've had some personal touch with, or?
It's a mix.
Okay. Wow, that's impressive. 40%, because like I would imagine, like if you have 40%, it's like, oh yeah, well because you know these people. But if you're saying like
No,
people that don't know you,
That's the part that's
wow,
weird.
yeah.
So I'll send it to you so you can see
Yeah.
it. But it basically says Entrepreneur's Edge, something, the tagline is something about, local businesses need local resources.
Yeah.
Like our team is here, and we put a big old smiley picture of us,
Yeah.
and we're real people, and we really are here. And it's shocking how many people open this
Wow.
email because we're saying, hey, we're talking to you.
Yeah.
You need help?
Yeah.
And so we found really good traction, and it's small, but
Yeah.
I actually had a meeting about a month ago with a guy who owned a small automotive repair business. And we met through a friend of a friend, and he at the end of the meeting goes, I think I know you already. And I was like, well, I don't think I know you. But then I realized he was on the email list.
Oh, that's
So,
wild.
it's things like that where it's just dropping those seeds of
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
The last one I'll talk about now is that we're shifting our strategy for 3090 marketing to really focus heavily on marketing strategy and communications planning for commercial real estate development. And
Gotcha.
so we're putting together a developers outreach list right now. We've been working on it for about 2 months, and we're going to do targeted content that's specific to commercial development because that is such a niche
Yeah.
sector. And so those will be people that we know in and around the design and build, construction, developers, even capital investment. And that will be a lot about what's happening in, economic development in New Orleans, what's happening around our country, where subsidies are coming from, where we're seeing trends, articles about what's happening there, just because we really feel like, subject matter expert is not a coined phrase that I love. But whatever the great term to say, like, we're part of the conversation, we want to be curious, we want to be sharing, we want to be in the community. That's what the email is going to be about.
Awesome.
It's just
Okay.
it's just having a little bit of visibility and a little bit of that conversation going on.
I like it. So you got like kind of like a broad, and then you kind of slowly dive in, and then you got your really specific. So that's really, I mean, like, I don't know if that's like was that kind of the goal there, or is that?
I honestly, Josh, I think it's all organic. We start to see a need for something.
Yeah.
I really want to build a women's entrepreneurship newsletter as well,
Yeah.
because there's like just some fun topics I think I could talk specifically to women about. And so that's another idea I have, not even for lead generation, just for
Oh my
fun.
gosh, you're
I just
it's
like
all
content.
emails up in here. You're just
I
building
just
them
like
all out.
content. Well, and here's the thing about content, right? If you're going to create content
Yeah.
and post it on your blog or post it on your social or send it out or whatever, you already have that nugget. It's already an asset. And I feel this way about email marketing or video marketing or great graphics. If you've already made the nugget, how can you repurpose that in 6 different ways? Because you already made it. You already spent the time on it. And so for us, email, and this is what I try to sell my clients on, it's like you've already written the content. You've already thought of the infographic or the how-to guide or the answer to the question. So why not put it on your blog page and create a short form video about it and also attach it to your email newsletter? Because then you're just repurposing and you're getting more juice for the squeeze. And that's why I think I like email marketing so much. It says, like, we've already built all this stuff. We're literally just plugging it in and delivering it to you.
Yeah.
And hopefully you open it.
That's interesting, because it's like almost like I'm wondering, you're giving me an idea. Is it better to have multiple email buckets, kind of like what you're saying, segments that you're, using the same, rather than one big piece of content? It's like, hey, everybody that is in this thing, check it out, versus, hey, you specifically, you're in this field. Here's this piece of content that we created and are talking about, and this is how it relates to you. And then you come to this next person, and here's this piece of content, how it relates to you. And now you're speaking directly to them in this email. Is that not a better way to do it? So you can make me have great ideas too.
Right. So like if your company was selling video marketing,
Right.
the videos that you might make for a construction company or the promo elements probably look different than a retailer.
Right.
Now, your skill sets might be very similar and you might approach the same process internally, but they don't know that because all they're thinking about is themselves, right? They don't know how you do work. But if you took the same 10 steps to get started and said 10 steps to get started if you're a construction company, and then you did a whole separate one that was 10 steps to get started if you're a retailer, and maybe the imagery looks a little different, or maybe the storyline building looks a little different, but essentially it's your same subject matter.
Right.
It's just speaking to them personally so that they go, wow, this guy really, he knows me. It's not just like something that feels far away. And I think that's the difference. It's like if you can reach people in conversation in real life or in their inbox or through video or through social, whatever they're going to absorb, if you can meet them where they are, where you're talking to them, then they're so much more likely to engage and to feel, like the emotional connection that they're really part of it.
Yeah. So when you're talking about emails, how do you, obviously great products are coming through this, but how do you get these emails? Like where do you capture these leads for these emails in the first place?
So it depends on your business type. I've been working a long time, so I just meet a lot of people, and I love business cards and I love paper. I don't care how cool the swipey things are. I just want the business cards. So I do a lot of networking, and I appreciate tactile in-person conferences and things like that. So just organic, ways of meeting people and collecting emails. Of course, defining how those people fit into your segments is kind of part of it, because I do think there's power in generic open-ended emails, but also I think segmentation can be cool. The other way that you can capture emails is very similar to lead generation. So through LinkedIn, you can get a lot of make connections with people, and then once you are first level contact, you can get their emails. So that's one way. You can also go through your past purchase logs. If you have any products or have QuickBooks invoicing or whatever, you should have a list of, at the very least, your client contacts and your accounting departments and things like that. So you can even pull your past records. Depending on if you're a brick and mortar business, some of my clients have a notepad at the desk that says, "Want to know about specials? Sign up here." It can literally be as simple as offering to connect with people and getting emails. I've seen some restaurants even have like a QR code for a survey. If you fill out the survey, you get 10% off your next order, or you get a free drink or something, and you just have to put your email address in. And so I think, if people know that they're connecting with you for a reason and they like your brand, they're not going to fill out 12 questions on a survey, but they might say, rate it 1 to 5, and here's my email.
Right.
Sure, send me the promos. And so I think there's some amount of understanding about how that works in the world. And really the last thing that I would say is that if you're a business that has a resource or a toolkit or a white paper or something where you can really help people, you can put that on your website. Do a little lead capture form where they can download that element for free by putting their email in. And you can build a pretty simple transaction by just having that email capture, so that people who are interested in you, and those are leads landing in your lap. If you have something that's valuable that people want help with, offer it to them.
Yeah.
Give them a little taste of what you do,
Nice.
and ask them for that email so you can keep in touch.
I love it. No, that's awesome. That what you're saying, it leads perfectly into what my last, question for you is, which is basically like, if you were to consult another small business on, I think one of the hardest things it is when it comes to, getting, obviously you can set up a email campaign and all that, but what would you advice wise say to them about the content of their email? Like what advice would you give to someone as they're, setting up an mass email to go out, like what to put in the email, how to structure it? Like what would your advice be to them?
I would say to take a moment to think about what questions you get asked routinely at work. Because often things that are very inherently obvious to us in our jobs are not obvious to the people who work with us, because they don't know, just like we don't know what they do. And so I think sometimes really simple things like explaining how you work, explaining 5 tips to do an XYZ topic. Here are 3 great articles to help you if you're storyboarding your next promo video. It's like if you were at a cocktail party with your friends and they're like, "Hey, what are you working on this week?" And you start to tell them and they go, "Oh, I'd love to know more about that."
Yeah.
And you go, "Well, sure, I'll tell you. It's call this guy and go check out this shoe store because it's awesome." And you're just telling people
Yeah.
the things. It's sort of the reverse of the TikTok thing,
Yeah.
right? TikTok is throwing a whole bunch of junk at you that they think you want to hear
Yeah.
because you've asked some questions,
Yeah.
essentially. And so reverse that out. Who is your audience? Whether you're selling tennis shoes or gold necklaces or podcasting services
Right.
or marketing strategy, these people have questions.
Yeah.
And if you can be warm and approachable and genuine and talk as much as you can physically, through video, through podcasting, through accessibility, I think that real people element, that really humanizing the brand is really important. The more AI takes over,
Yeah.
the more I swear that people are desperate for the human element.
Yeah.
And so I think they both rise,
Yeah.
which is sort of this interesting paradox,
Yeah.
right? It's like we love the robots, but we just really love people.
Yeah.
And so, how can you answer those questions and be present and keep the conversation going, or even better, trigger them to know just enough that they want to get in touch with you to hire
Yeah.
you. So
100%.
there's a balance
Wow.
with
Yeah.
the T's and with just being a resource. I think
Yeah.
one of my values as a person and as a business owner is like you can never go wrong by being a resource to people who genuinely appreciate and value you. There's a limit, there's a boundary to being taken for granted in every situation in life. But if you can put yourself in a situation where you truly just want people to succeed around you, I mean that's just great for karma, right? And so you just give some love and,
Yeah.
and great things come back.
That's all love at the end of the day. That's what you got to talk about. You're real, you're raw, and you're authentic, and you lay it out there. And I mean, that's what can be better for an email campaign. So anyone out there that's looking to get started, that's a good way to get it. So awesome.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Rachel. So next, we're going to if you want to plug anything that you would like for people to find you on the internet or interwebs, social media, things that you got going on, now's the time to plug it.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So 3090 Marketing is the longitude, latitude of New Orleans. So I always tell people it's very easy. 3090marketing.com is our website. We are on all the handles at 3090marketing. It's also a little easier to get a domain and handles when you make it a little different. And that's always a challenge with new businesses. So that was important to us. We are a strategic marketing agency. We do traditional marketing from graphics, signage, messaging, content, all the way through digital channels like website development, email marketing, and just trying to really be creative and think outside the box on how to make our clients' businesses successful, all the way from their sales process and buyer's journey to the actual tactile marketing tools that they're working on. Most importantly, we're taking a strategic direction in 2024 to focus on commercial real estate development and the sort of end-to-end from ideas to impact on how economic development and real buildings and structures impact our communities, because we all have to live and eat and play and thrive in our communities. And it's just always been a personal interest. So we're taking our business and really pointing the arrow in the direction of commercial real estate development for this upcoming year.
Awesome. Well, commercial real estate development, be on the lookout. 3090 is coming for you.
We are coming.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, for joining me. And we'll see you next time on Make Marketing Make Sense. Bada bing, bada boom. This has been Make Marketing Make Sense, brought to you by Comfystone. If you need video content for social media, your website, or email marketing, hit up Comfystone at comfystone.com and follow Comfystone on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.